Hi, welcome to Waypoint Connect. It's so great for you to join us for this episode. And I'm really excited because we're able to talk to Kevin Kimwelle. And I'm going to introduce you guys to Kevin. Kevin, welcome. And it's so great that you're able to join us.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dirk.
Kevin, as we start off, do you just want to tell us a bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I am actually a professional associate with Nelson Mandela University. I'm a community architect. The difference between a community architect and mainstream architect is whereas mainstream architects mainly deal with commercial work, I tend to specialize with social impact or community engagement. And the skill sets are quite different. When you're working with community, you realize that it's not just about the building, it's also about the relationships, the work, and the impact, the long-term impact of the work that we do. I've also lived in Port Elizabeth for about 17, 18 years. So loved the city, fell in love with the city, connected with a lot of like-minded people in the city. And there's a reason why they call P the friendly city, because we are connected, we share passion, and we have that sense of connectivity that is a little bit rare compared to other cities. We're very family oriented, and even though and you can see that within the culture of the city, the connection with the business chamber, the connection with the municipality, the connection with the university. It's quite a nicely integrated city to be home.
Yeah, and you've been traveling a lot, and you've seen quite a few cities. So it's interesting for me to hear you say that P really is a place where relationships are important. It really is the friendly city. So that I think really is a feather in our cap. So thank you for that, Kevin. Now, Kevin, what I love about what you're doing is the fact that you're able to merge your vocation, architecture, design, buildings, and really connect that with your passion. So maybe you could share a bit about what your passion actually is.
I'm very fortunate to be able to align my passion with my career and my research. It took a long time to do that. It's taken a lot of hard work to do it. But the result is what I really desire, which is human impact, social impact in the communities. That's where my passion has always been, in being able to work with communities, work with individuals in communities, cooperate with corporates, corporates, that's what we call them, sorry, and other NGOs in impacting society. We know about South Africa's apartheid past. We know about the global disparity between the rich and the poor. And zooming in into P again, that's why I also love P so much, because there are a lot of people who are aware of it and who want to do something about it. And that is that has been. I think I was very fortunate to be in a city where I could connect with a lot of people who could, just beyond agreeing to an idea, want to do something about it, put in their effort towards it, and say, okay, let's come together, let's do something a little bit meaningful or a little bit more impactful. And I think with the experience I've had, I've been able to guide a couple of NGOs, the university, and a couple of corporates too, in creating a precedent. And precedent is important because then we are able to, once a precedent is set, then we're able to go further. We're able to cooperate better, we're able to go past the teething processes of knowing how to make these relationships work to grow the impact that we need to in the city.
Yeah. And for us, it's really important that we connect with communities and we don't work in silos and work with a few individuals. So I think what you're doing is very important. And our hot word since last year is impact, the change. And it's no sense in doing something and nobody knows about what you're doing. And it's not for the sake of having people know what you're doing, but for being able to allow other people to participate, be part of. And I like what you're saying in terms of setting a precedent, and that just is the tip of the spear. But then the expectation is that becomes the new normal, that becomes
Absolutely.
acceptable, and we change culture, and we change the way that people think and see. So maybe tell us a bit about your projects that you've done.
So we've done several works, some in different levels. So I think the one that is most known is the Just Level project, which was a combination. It was basically when I got to Just Level, and this was through Love Story NGO, by the way.
Okay.
We with them, we went through a couple of works, soup kitchens that they had, and creches that they supported in the city. I think I did about 15 of them, just looking at them and seeing where we could kind of walk in. And Just Level at that stage, Just Level West particularly, was a community in transition, and it was the farthest from the CBD. So in my opinion, I thought that they would be the hardest to reach. So we went for the hardest project. And in there, through a community mapping process, we were able to find several needs, right from the need for the soup kitchen facility, supporting a creche, a place of worship, a place of youth being together. And as you know, with communities in transition, there's no infrastructure. So we were able to put together a community hall or a community facility that could be a creche, that could be used as a church, could be used for weddings and funerals, various needs. We've also done work with a waste picker in Woma Township. With him, actually, we did several things. One was he needed a waste cart, which we prototyped two different types. And then in the middle of us engaging with him, the NGO that he was going to work with was actually being threatened to be shut down because they had a waste facility that was exposed to the air. And because it's placed in quite an affluent suburb, there was a lot of neighbors
complaining.
Creating issues. So actually it's so the waste picker is Kululikile or Costa, and the NGO was Retrade. And what we did with Retrade is then we jumped in and built them a temporary waste facility so that the trading could go on. Because this is all that the waste pickers, it's crucial for them to have that trade. And then of course with waste trade, with Retrade, I designed their new facility, let's call it their new recycling center. And then with Kustamoko, we built in a home and a workshop. And I think the most recent one would be the house for Gogo Selina, an 8-year-old in Woma Township also, whose building was literally collapsing. The roof was collapsing on top of a roof. And we went in and we were called in by the community and the Isuzu Foundation. And what we did there is our job was actually just to fix the ceiling, stop the roof from collapsing. But when you get in there and you find a daughter, 14, 15-year-old in that space, that's where they eat, sleep. And I mean, our hearts were just, we had to do something. So we then stretched ourselves and built them a new home from recycled material.
That's awesome. And I just love the heart within the process of, it's not just meeting the minimum requirement. And we've spoken about this in our messages. And the one phrase that keeps on coming out is, what does love require of me? When you walk into that situation, you see the need there, something inside of you needs to respond to it. And the minimum requirement just isn't going to make it. So that's awesome. And that's fantastic. And thank you for sharing that, Kevin. And I'm excited about the work that you're doing. So thank you for leading the way in social activism and community engagement. And do you call it social architecture, community architecture? What did you call it at the beginning, Kevin?
I call myself a community architect, but it's also, a lot of people refer to it as social architecture or social design, just in the global context.
Awesome, thanks. And Kevin, I think as we close, maybe just share about the project that you've got that's coming up.
So a couple of years ago, we engaged with our partners, an NGO called CAP. Actually, it was an NMU student who he and I and his partner then, we studied together in the school, in Nelson Mandela University. And they found it out of their heart. They saw the need to found an NGO to help Bloomy in Walmart Township. Bloomy's heart was she's very passionate about kids, and she extended her little RTP house at the back of it and put in a small creche. But I mean, it's a big challenge. I mean, she is a single parent. She has her own kids, and this structure at the back basically is not sufficient enough. So the NGO, when the two founders left the country, they collected some money together and they put together a seed fund, which we then went in and started relooking the design. And our mission basically is we put up the walls, we put up a frame for the floor. Our mission is to complete the job, complete the work. We need to put up a roof and put in a facade of the front and make that space habitable. So the main work in terms of foundations, in terms of walls is in place. We need the support now to just complete it, complete the envelope so that it's habitable.
Okay, great. So that's your Warmer Township project for creche that you guys are going to do, and that's starting on the 7th of May. Is that right?
Yes, we're targeting the 7th of May for about a week, and our call is in the previous works that I've done, it's always been very much either a corporate or an NGO or the university. The difference this time is that we are calling the entire community, and I think it's because the ground is ready. We're calling on anybody and everybody who wants to participate in this process to come in and partake of it.
Awesome. So if you want to be part of this project, feel free to reach out to Kevin or to reach out to myself. And we've got various opportunities for you to contribute, be part, and make a difference in that community as well. And what we're passionate about is being able to bring the city together and just shift our focus from saying, just because that problem isn't in my neighborhood, luckily it's not my problem. We're saying we're all in the same boat. So if it's leaking in your community, it's leaking in my community as well. And we just can't be okay with the fact that people are struggling, suffering, and going through things on their own. And as a city, we need to draw together as a bigger community and make a difference. So join us in this endeavor. We're excited about what you're doing, Kevin. So thank you very much as well for taking the time out to be with us and sharing your passion and vision. So thank you very much for that.
Sure. Thanks, Dirk.
And remember, as we close, have a great week.